think of every content warning that you can think of for today's streams. I don't know exactly what content warnings would apply to something like this. I know for the next title. But for this one, I have an inkling of what it is, of what it's about, but I don't really know specifically what. Just know that this is going to be a very depressing topic, okay? Today will be lacking in terms of jokes, in terms of, things that we usually talk about on the stream. There won't be anything sort of strange or chaotic about the stream. This is a game that I was looking forward to for a long time. It's one of our many games by a group called the Padoba Interactive. I think it's their name, right? Yeah, Padoba Interactive, and their publisher is called the Marivo Collective. A publisher that is known for games that we played before. No One Lives Under the Lighthouse and Blessed Burden, both two really amazing games. The Marivo Collective is actually working on or publishing, I'm not really sure which one it is, on another game called Zero Losses. This game is called Back to Hearth, which is by, again, the Padoba Interactive, which is not the Marivo Collective. I don't really know how publishers and developers work on Steam. I just know that they're sort of related, but also not related. And I wanted to play this game because, as a medium for games, again, there's a lot of games out there that you just kind of mindlessly consume, and you just sort of throw out there. It just passes through you almost like a liquid. It doesn't really stick with you, and it doesn't provide you with anything either. It's strange how it's all just designed to flow through you like a train of slop. And I always found that strange, because you play games like Signalis or Silent Hill, or you even play action games like I don't know, something like let's say Halo, I don't know, or Call of Duty, and there's themes that they're talking about, but it feels strange to me that the horror genre is the one game genre that seems to delve deep into these really interesting topics about life in many ways. And a lot of the time, it's usually about the terrible things in life, and it lets you experience them. This is sort of the cool thing about the game's medium, is that it puts you directly within the shoes of somebody who is going through these things at the moment, which is something that you don't get from books or from videos. It's strange how disconnected those things can make somebody feel. And I've been thinking about this a lot, right? We play a lot of games about killing people and blowing people up. I mean, we never really think about the consequences. It's sort of the meme of, how an Uncharted Nathan Drake would be the mass murderer of all time, where he goes, oh no, how could you do this? How could you kill my brother, when he's killed hundreds of thousands of different mercenaries for, just a couple of gold coins? And it's fascinating because that disconnect almost always exists within videos and books and stuff, but very rarely do they ever make it real, right? It's it's more often that I find a book, and this is no shade to the book, Before the Coffee Gets Cold, that series, versus something like 1,000 Splendid Suns. It's a very different sort of pacing. Hello, chat. So, when I think of that sort of concept of 1,000 Splendid Suns, in terms of the seriousness of it, applied to a video game, I think to myself, well, this is now interesting, but more so than it normally is, because it's now a level of interactivity. You can take part in whatever is going on. I'm just... At last, the calamity is quieted down. The calamity. Also capitalized. It's a very impactful event. Right now, the houses of the settlement are empty. But perhaps it would be possible to bring the residents back home. You should put the yard and house in order, and then light the home hearth. So Back to Hearth. This is the name of the game. Nice. And actually, it's an interesting premise. It's interesting to think of them using this this narrative device to frame it as the calamity. It's a very almost faceless way of putting a name to something that I think of can have many different forms, right? I don't need to go there. Oops, sorry. Like a lot of life, there's a lot of terrible things happening within life. It's sort of why I wanted to play this game, because it really relates to a lot of terrible things happening now within the world. And that idea of those terrible things, in many ways, it's sort of like the reasons fall apart once you start to think about it as an individual, because the way that impacts your life is like a calamity. it doesn't matter what the reasons behind it are. The reasons almost feel meaningless to you because, in many ways, a lot of the time, it is meaningless. Why these things happen? Well, the average person just suffers these things, and really, the world suffers as a whole when these terrible things happen, such that it feels like a calamity. So it's actually fascinating. I really enjoy that take on the idea of just calling it a calamity, something that has simply befallen the world, and it just feels meaningless, but all this destruction, and for what? It's just because it is a calamity. As an Undertale fan, you do think about it. Let's see, even games like that, I think are interesting, right? That idea of taking the medium and trying to talk about these very important things. So we're gonna try to fix this house up and get the hearth going. And I can see that the house is very run down. An accident has dried out over time. Sadly, Mikola can no longer slam it into a log. Uh-oh. So it's not as strong as it used to be. Water bowls for the dog Loki. He's such a good boy, which implies that he might still be here. I need to find a hammer. There's a workbench. Many rusted tools. And this is an interesting position to place yourself in, right? Again, something that is difficult, I think, in video or in story, in the books to do. Games are unique in this premise that you can be the one to experience this action. Me, I'm trying to find a hammer to fix my life. But what's interesting about this too is that the way that games have to start, it puts me far removed from the calamity. I mean, we're just coming in as a player in this world that has had this happen. And we're just looking at this world and we're saying, this is the aftermath of the calamity. But we never had to live through it as these characters had to. But even this is still very powerful, because we see the world in disarray. And we see a life that was here, thrown out of check. They were in the middle of playing a good game of chess. And I don't know how they played this game. Wait, this isn't chess. This is specifically the other type of game. It's like a board game. And we see these things that, are just remnants of their life. Anime art game, the boys love to play in their free time. But the character that we play, they understand what's been happening. Checkers, thank you, checkers. A hammer was found, here we go. So I can fix this up. I should probably fix this too, actually. That's interesting. That's a cool mechanic. Again, it's very hard to make the whole system work, because it's like, how do you make people take part in the act of recovery in a space like this? And it's cool that it even pushes you to like do that, to fix it by hand, to draw the pattern, and to try to make it work. I also didn't realize, but that's a very cute little dog home there. Again, all remnants of life. And I like that it's really blurry too, as if to say, you don't really know what you're doing. You sort of remember the shape, but it's one of those things that you don't really think about, right? And it's weird to think about, because I've never really cared about the shape of my stairs, but if I had lost my stairs due to some calamity, which probably, I mean, whatever it could be, it's probably awful. It's like, when you don't have them and you need to fix them, all of a sudden you care. But right now, I don't really care to. And so when I would have to go fix them, I wouldn't even remember really what they're like. I just sort of know that this should be a fence and this should be a stair. But how do I make it good? This is the hearth. Many things on the floor. You can see all of it just sort of shaken and thrown away. I need to find a besom. Monks of the boys carved for themselves out of wood on the day off. Again, pretty... there's already hints and pieces of it, which make me feel like this is going to be a very, very sad story. Because that the boys used to do this, that the boys did this, that the boys, and so what are, like, who are the boys? Are they kids? Are they adults? But even then, it's both sad, but clearly they're no longer here. A somewhat chaotic kitchen service where you could quickly whip something up or reheat a meal before heading back to work with renewed strength. Crunchy pickles that Larissa gave the boys in exchange for firewood for the winter. Crunchy pickles. Again, all pieces of life. Even this idea of, like, you see the pieces of community that was here too. The ways that they would interact and share with each other. Because for the most part, when you see things like this within a game, or even within life, if you've ever walked into a home, it's sort of strange. I think the one time that you sort of get a sense of this is when you're trying to find a place to move. It's probably most people's experience. It's weird to walk into a home and to know that somebody's life was here. And it could have been like a day, a month. It could have been like multiple decades worth of a life. But it's strange how you cruise through it, just looking at the details, but sort of ignoring the context, and you just see things and you go, "Oh, this cupboard doesn't look right." But it's like that was somebody's life for however many decades, but now you're just walking through it as if it doesn't matter because to you, you never experienced life there, so it doesn't matter to you. It's very haunting in that sense. It's something that I think about a lot. What's this? The deer is a symbol of the Pelesian forests. Now we fixed the bed. And you can tell that these things haven't been used in a very long time. Oh, man. Put the bottles back. Light up all the candles, which I'm lighting up the hearth to make it nice and warm. Another bed. And stained, too. These beds are incredibly stained. And again, it's one of those things where it's like you'd walk in and you'd see the stains and you go, oh, that's disgusting. But again, this is somebody's life. They were here this whole time. And is it really disgusting? It's like, this is, you know, life because of what, right? A family photo of one of the loggers, Pavlo. An old Bible written in Old Church Slavonic. It was inherited by Pavlo from his great-grandfather, a priest. A traditional red wooden necklace passed down to Mikla from his late mother. Traditionally, such jewelry was handed down through the maternal line, believed to protect the girl's fate. But Mikla's mother had only him, her son, so she kept the beads for his future bride, whom she never met. I haven't finished the repairs in the house yet. Right. That's an interesting line, too. Whom she never met. As in, the mother, Mikola's mother gave it to him. How come she never met him? This sort of it's a very interesting statement because it could be innocuous in the sense of, you know, if I never met my wife, I don't think my parents would ever meet my wife, right? In the sense of I probably would have never found someone until I'm like 40 or 50 because they're very antisocial. But it's also in the sense of maybe they didn't even have a chance in the first place. Maybe there was no way to. There was never a time. Shagaister is a figure from Ukrainian mythology, the protector of the forest and its people. A besom, that's what a besom is. Metal bowls the loggers use to cook and heat up their food. Now I have the besom and clean up the eggs. I like how it's applied to the axe as well. The good now can light the fire. Like even sweeping things up has this almost vague, blurry memory of like you trying to remember how it used to be. It's a very fascinating way of making the mechanic because you can infer a lot from something like that. It's like a character hasn't really been here in a very long time. It's like they've forgotten what life is because they've been so busy not being able to live life that, you know, they've had to. Now they're trying to remember what it's like to live a normal life, trying to sweep things up and make things clean again, make things tidy. Something that's very... what used to be a way of life is now foreign for them. Wow. That's a beautiful scene. You can see the passage of time, too. Hey, it's Pavlo. Yeah, we ain't taking good care of this place, but now... Mikla, do you see what happened to your best axe? That's the dog! Oh, and the other tools. Vasil is said to always bring inside everything at night. Where's he now, by the way? Heard about him? I don't know, he probably found something to his liking in the city. He never liked neither forest, nor firewood, nor silence. I don't get it. Yeah, that's why he was boozing us up. Feels nice being on the wagon. Life is easier, and so is work. Well, it's high time we found another young'un to help us. Anyway, let's make some good old tea. The evenings ain't so warm already. Huh. That was a whole chapter. And it's interesting to see the characters sort of here. I guess I never really expected people to show up. You can sort of, kind of tell what the story is about at the beginning, right? Whatever the calamity is, and we sort of see a calamity as it relates to Ukraine at the moment. This is sort of what this game, I think, is talking about. And it's strange to me, because when I started the game and you go through this history of the people, in a way, I didn't really expect them to have other characters besides me. It's sort of the scale of the calamity that makes me go, I can't even possibly imagine how something could exist or survive in that calamity. But it's also the perseverance of humanity that life finds a way, right? That people will find a way to persevere in the face of such hate and anger and just danger. And again, this is one of those weird things where the genre as a whole, the horror genre, it's the only genre that I've ever seen try to really tackle these concepts. It's strange how there's a lot of other things that, you know, could have tackled this concept, but action games, for instance, first-person shooters, it just feels like a glorification of the act. But horror games, even something like a walking simulator, it's strange where this genre, this idea of you just being here in this space and being free to choose and determine what is horror allows you to immerse the player in something that is otherwise seen as an act of fun in other genres. Which is very, very scary to think about. And it's so interesting to me because it's a horror that you don't really expect. And this isn't even really like a full horror game. This is this is just... But it's the type of horror that I think is so prevalent in our lives that you can't deny it. It's the horror of the reality of life. This is a horror game. It's in I categorize it as like real life horror. It's why I said today would be a very sad day, because it's the type of horror that is inescapable. I think with the monster you can sort of run away from the monster because you know it isn't real. But a horror like this, it's happening right now in the moment. You can't really run away from it because it's there outside of your doorstep. And for many people, I'm sure there's probably, a couple of viewers of mine that are dealing with this on a daily basis. And so when I look at this game, it's not exactly a traditional horror game, but when I look at this, this is the most horrifying game that I can think of. This is true horror. This is a life of pain and suffering. And trying to recover after that life. Champion. Oh, it's so sweet. Wait, is it really a champion apple? Oh, it's so sweet. Oh, a worm, damn you. Not the worm. Oh, it's so sweet. I like how I'm eating also the... Now I get why they kicked Eve out of paradise. Such a temptation. A worm, damn you. Only at Larissa's home where the apple's so good. Oh, it's so sweet. Should I not be eating the apples? I feel like I should save the apples for someone. Oh, it's so sweet. Floor apples, a worm, damn you. I still find it funny, by the way, whenever people eat apples and go, oh no, a worm in my apple. Because it's like, buddy, that's the worm's food. We choose to eat the apple because we want to have the food. But it's not our fault that, but we blame the worm for it. But even though it's like, the worm was there first. A table with a bench, where it is especially pleasant to spend time in the warm evenings. And I think this is the same hearth, but maybe it's not. It's not the same hearth. It's actually a whole different hearth. I wonder where we are, because this is Larissa's home. A hammer was found, and why are we at Larissa's home? Because maybe we're trying to help bring them back as well. And how do I remember what a well looks like? Gluttony. Yeah, it's sort of weird, right? It's like, we just look at it and we eat it, and then we say, you damn worm, but it's like, the worm was there first. It's us intruding on its face. Just eat the worm. It's free protein. You need to find a hammer and a rag. I need to find the hoe. The worm, a flower made of metal, which Volodya brought as a gift for the woman after visiting the Carpathians. The worm makes the apple its home, and we just decide to eat it because it's like, oh, it's like a tasty apple to us. But I didn't need to eat that many apples. I just kept eating all of the worms. In these sacks, the potatoes have already started rotting because they weren't stored in time. Larissa would have made such good potato pancakes. You used to put all kinds of veggies in these boxes. Zucchini, peppers, tomatoes. Oh, how wonderful were their tomatoes. Now you can't put anything in this dozy wood. So it shows the passage of time, how long we've been gone from the space. See if we can find these tools. A hoe. Ah, here we go. A hoe was found. Is that the only thing that we need? We also need a rag. Fix this outhouse out. I've actually been thinking about that worm thing, right? Because like, how do you if you eat it, And you never know if a worm is inside. Do you always risk eating half of a worm or like a part of a worm? I don't know if that's worth the risk of trying to always eat an apple. That's why I specifically avoid fruits. Probably not the best choice, but why eat the fruit when the risk of eating the worm is higher? When you could eat, I don't know, like a processed pizza pocket, and there's basically zero chance of you eating some random worm. You once ate a banana full of worms by accident. What? Oh god, that's disgusting. A ball of linen yarn that would later be sewn into durable like clothes, tablecloths, or towels. This everlasting flower was once delicately picked from a flower bed. It didn't rot only because it stood on a sunny windowsill. Again, as if to show the passage of time. And you can even see this, right? The way the things are flipped over, how quickly things can happen. It's like you can sort of tell the story. They were at the loom, they were making this stuff, and even at the last house, the beds were just quickly thrown apart. It's almost like they were eating and busy playing, and they quickly ran off when the thing started to like escalate. And it's just all of a sudden, just like that, your life can be turned upside down. Again, this seems weird to say, but it's like the same horror of you eating the banana full of worms. It's like, for some of us, the biggest thing that will happen to us is we eat a banana full of worms. For other people, they gotta leave their home because things are about to get real. You're pretty sure there's a statistic on how much worms people eat accidentally without even knowing. There used to be this fake statistic going around of how many spiders people eat on a daily basis. And it was sort of funny because it's like, oh, you eat 12 spiders every night when you're sleeping. And I always found it funny as a statistic because I even made some teachers believe me too. And I'm like, there's no way that that's possible. Do you have an idea how many spiders are 12 spiders? That's a lot of spiders. Oh, they're so happy. Light this up. The ox is one of the strongest animals in the world and a key helper in farming. And I can fix this. A necklace. A linen kerchief. An essential item for every housewife. Was this Larissa's regarding at home? Or was it prepared for Oksana's dowry? And now we can finally fix it up and, you know, make it look proper again. A spinning wheel with a spindle. Here, the girls used to make threads from finer fibers. Clay plates brought from the neighbor, a Padre Stefan. A jar of homemade strawberry jam from the freshest harvest, picked by the woman before the calamity. A hand-carved wooden salt cellar. A gift from the lumberjack Mikla. A rag. Yeah, just pieces of life. I can't imagine having to live like this. That at any moment you'd have to basically throw your life away. You'd have to say, okay, well, time to get up. And you don't even have time. This is the thing, right? Look at this. Jam? Why would you want to leave that behind? These are foods that you can bring with you. Trinkets, very important things. Your necklace. These are like photos. I keep a photo of my wife in my pocket every single day because, you know, I never want to lose her. She's always in my wallet. But they didn't even have time to take that. There wasn't even time to take even the bare sentimentals, let alone the essentials. That's how quickly your life can be overturned in just an instant. I can't imagine living like this. This means the calamity happened fast. Yeah, it happens fast. And the thing is, it's sudden, right? Because you never really believe it's gonna go down that way, but it's by design. It's by design. The cruelty is designed in that way to be as sudden as it can be, to surprise you. It's designed to be a terrible, cruel thing. To pull you out of your safe space, to, you know, further whatever goal that they have. A goal that, again, is so far removed from you that it just feels like a calamity. Like, it doesn't even matter what the goal is, and in pretty much every single case, it's just to you, the individual, to you, the person going through it. It's almost like a meaningless suffering that has to be exerted on you. Yeah, it's anti-spider propaganda. Spiders are not so stupid. Exactly. Spiders don't just fall into your mouth. If anything, they would build a web on it. A weaving loom. Thick, sturdy fabrics from thread were made here. Preserves for winter, made from homegrown vegetables and fruit. Again, things that we would find valuable. Things that they found valuable that they couldn't even bring with them. It just happened so fast. And think about this. Why is all of this sort of jostled? Why are all these jars upside down? It's because it was close enough that, you know, the shock waves of whatever it was, you can imagine a large number of things, caused it to fall apart. Right? Not all, like the chair, you can imagine it was them having to get up very quickly just to run away for their lives. But this, It really shows that even the impact of the thing that shook them was so close that it shook the very structure of their home. Spiders are helpful. They're just making webs over your mouth to protect you from stupid flies flying in. You know what? Okay, maybe I've been too mean to the spiders in my home. Cast iron pots in which the woman cooked food. They hold heat well and can withstand the oven's fire, so you could cook anything in them. An oven fork, one of the essential things in the house with an oven. You use to put pots and cauldrons in or take them out. It's actually fascinating that this game has so many interactables, right? Because it's like, as a storytelling device, and again, this is something weird where books sort of go through this sometimes when they describe the state of the world. But oftentimes what you'll find is a lot of books sort of ignore what a place looks like because there's just not enough room to put all these details. But in a movie, you can see them, but they don't have a comment on it. It's just sort of seen as like a decoration, as a prop. But in a video game like this, and in some movies, you often see them go to great pains to sort of highlight what these things are, to give you the opportunity to see what they are. It's because these things have a story to them too, right? And every single thing is a representation of the life that they used to live in this place. When they would work the looms, when they would, put stuff into the fire to bring warmth to their home. So much so that they had a tool for it because it happened so often. Again, it's one of those in real life horror things where all of this life just sort of left here. All these valuable things that were so important to life were just left here because there was no time to make any sense of what was happening. The wreath has long been a Ukrainian charm. At first, it symbolized the sun, life, and the renewal of nature. Over time, it came to represent maidenhood. That's why it's not surprising there are wreaths of hope, devotion, separation, weddings, and more. And this is why I pegged this game as an in-real-life horror game, because it's again, it's weird to think about it in that sense, but it's a horror that we don't have to deal with. Again, this is something that I think about a lot, that every day there's horrors that the world goes through, but I'm just here in my safe space. I don't even have to deal with it. I'm so far removed from it, and yet somebody else out there in the world who used to have the same life as me, their life has been rocked so heavily that now their life has been upchurned and thrown into disarray, if not taken from them entirely. It's very sad. Very sad. An old handheld sewing machine. The scuffs on it reveal frequent use by skilled hands. Frequent use, something that they used to always do. An open window. Why would they leave it open, right? Not enough time to even close the windows. There wasn't even enough time to preserve the state of things. It's funny too, because sorry, not so funny. It's interesting in the sense of like, I always hear this stuff too from my family as well, because I'm like, child of immigrants who escaped from the war. My mom talks about the time when she was in jail for just trying to escape to a place that wouldn't oppress her. And then just looking at the cycles that it sort of goes through, it's fascinating how it seems like humanity keeps making the same mistakes. How humanity keeps on trying to inflict this pain on other people for no reason. It's so needlessly cruel and so stupid in so many ways. And I always think about this in relation to my life, because again, that open window, right? It's like, it doesn't take me a very long time to close the window, but that's how much time I have. Even those moments where I'm at peace and I can just go and close the blinds on the window, that's a peace that some people can't even be afforded. This was the first poetry collection by Lesia Ukrainka, arguably the most renowned woman in Ukrainian literature. It reflects not only her lyrical emotions, but also traveled memories, philosophical musings, and a depiction of Ukraine's complex social reality at the time. Wow. And these are very nice covers for the pillows, too. You can tell, again, like all this life, there's so much detail even within these covers they spent a long time making, but they couldn't even preserve that, despite all the value that presumably that had. A rolling pin made by the boys for Oksana, who often brought them homemade pastries. Oh yeah, to finish the repairs in the yard, right? And what's interesting is that my parents, they sort of live a life so far removed from that time, right? That you could almost forget that they went through that. But then sometimes it comes up in conversation and you see the 1,000-yard stare in their eyes. Same with my brother and my siblings. So it's a very difficult thing that you had to go through that leaves these lasting scars on you. And I sort of do think about that in this game too. We make these homes for people to come back to, but the home is just one part of a person, right? A home is just a place that you stay and that you are within, but there's also the body and the mind within you that is probably going to carry some part of this for the rest of your life too. That's a very complex shape. Good, now I can light the fire. And the greenhouse is now set up. Good. But at least in doing this, it's sort of comforting because we're at least able to have a space for people again, for them to start to live that life again. I can feel a sense of hope coming from this game that maybe one day we could have this. Keep imagining a plot twist where whenever he says the boys, he's talking about his homies. I mean, he probably is. Oh, mommy. Feels so good to be in your four walls again. We've been away for so long. It is nice, my dear. It really is. Though I'm sad we had to leave home. How long will we work in the soil to get a decent harvest? Yonder and fertilizer we brought from the city. Fine seeds, too. We'll get everything in shipshape. Yeah, we only ain't brought you a man, Oksana. The same old song, Mom. I'd rather be here with your helping. I feel nice here. It's peaceful. I don't want to go nowhere else. Let me bring some of our beloved strawberry jam instead, and have some with them delicious rolls from the city. I wonder if Halia's back yet. I could go see her for some milk. I think it is implied in somewhere that we are at least familiar with the community, right? So it's not really a plot twist, it's more so the fact that, and this is another part of the horror, is that I guess one way to explain it, instead of talking about it in relation to something that I think is long past gone, when my parents came over here, there was nobody to help them, because there was no help for them. When these things end and the calamity passes, right? Who is there to help them go back to their lives? No one, because that's not, the world is cruel in that way. The world just says, okay, you're done, you suffered, and now you no longer do, now deal with it yourself. When he says the boys, he means it, because it seems like our character knows everything about this life. They know the names of everything, they know the culture that's in the space, they know everything that was going on. This is somebody who is coming back to take back pieces of their life for the sake of their community. And it takes a lot of effort to go and do that, right? It takes a lot of effort to be the one to go in there and see the destruction that was caused and to try and make it better again. So it's not really a plot twist. It's just, that's the whole point of the reason why he keeps talking about the boys, is because they are his boys. And they still are his boys because, they made it through. But it's because this was his life. And this is our character coming back to fix their life, to fix the world that was taken from them. It's like a wooden planks. An unfinished painting. Grandpa last worked on it the day before the calamity. And you can, again, even that saying, right? That's enough to let you know that a character was there, that this was their life, and they were here the moment that things happened. This wheel Grandpa dragged from somewhere in the village, just like so much other junk he kept for decoration. An anvil. It wasn't used much for its original purpose, but became part of Grandpa Volodia's little art collection. A toy shaggy ram. I do enjoy the fact that there's sort of a universality to the idea of keeping little trinkets because, you just think that one day it's going to be useful, or it just looks nice, right? And again, it's sort of this is another part of the horror, is the people who are going through this are just like you and I. This could have easily been us. How many of you collect things for the sake of collecting things? Well, guess what? This person did too. They just had to leave because the calamity took over. A couch for spending warm evenings outside, which Grandpa made from an old metal bathtub. That's a very interesting couch, and I don't know how comfortable that is. Anvil is just pure coolness. I mean, that is true. It is a very cool implement. I do think about the those like specific tools, and I think to myself, of the tools that I would look at in a home, it's like you look at like an egg whisker and you go, okay, well you whisk eggs, sure, that's like sure, it's cool, it's whatever. But then you look at an anvil and you go, holy shit, this guy is sick. They must make some crazy things now, because why do you need an anvil to work and to sort of craft and to manipulate raw metal? The buy-in, a gift to Grandpa Volodya from his friends in Luhansk. It looks a lot like an accordion. This pile of junk built up over time with things that might come in handy someday. And again, it's like I can point to pieces of this where things that I could see, the behaviors that I could see in the people around me, but, you know, it just goes to show how human people are and how sad it is that this happens to people that are just like you and I. This pile of junk that we all keep around. Though I will say, to the level of a door, that's kind of intense. Get rid of these trees, these branches. You must be, again, away for so long that these things can overgrow. It takes a very long time for something like that to grow and to take over all of your space. Yeah, Bayan is a button accordion. Wait, a button accordion. What's like the... Is it because it uses buttons versus... Oh, because it's usually the holes, right? It's usually that an accordion has the holes, right? That you like press down and you hold on to. Like a flute? Or like, no, not the holes. The keyboard. It's like a keyboard keys, but this one is a button. So is it more like a typewriter thing versus like the keyboard version? I need to find a rope. Oh, see, even the swing is worn now. Round buttons instead of piano keys. I see. Olha's grave. Tidy, cared for, with fresh wildflowers laid on it. Let's go inside the hole. Counting all of the days down. Oh, Olia. My dear Ola. I know an old man like me shouldn't complain like that. And don't you be upset up there in heaven that I keep wanting to hear every day. Oh, how lonely it is for me. Without the Aolia. Not a leaving soul here. God took you, and the calamity took them all. Yuda wanted to take me with her, to protect me. I said no. I'd rather die here in Neria than wander the world alone. Yeah. Because for a lot of people, they can leave. For a lot of people, there's an ability to leave, but when you leave, it's all that sentimentality left behind. Even if you believe that you'll come back someday, but for some others, that sentimentality is all you have in life. That's the other thing about leaving that's so difficult. I think when people talk a lot about the suffering and the destruction that happens to places, it's a lot of the discussion is about like the monetary. It's about the practical. It's like, oh yeah, they'll have to fix these things up, and it's a huge monetary cost, and there'll have to be relief efforts. But this game really does a good job of showing you the sentimental effect, right? The personal effect. It's these things that are intangible and priceless, really, to the human experience. Things that are so important to our existence. There are things in our life that we care for in a way that, you know, isn't ever really logical, right? It's like the value of these things is you know, of a pair of slippers on the floor, of a couple of pictures, like you can always take another one, but not this picture, and not this slipper, and not this home, and not this space that I built a life out of. It's very sad to see. And it's very painful to think about, because it's sort of again, these are things that we never really think about in life. It's one of those things like that. Again, it's so strange. Is that I'm here playing the game. I'm sitting here playing the game, but I'm so far removed from what the game is talking about. It's like we can draw a clear line of what the game is talking about to the real life event, and yet it's like nothing about it will ever affect me. And it may come to be that in my entire lifetime I'll never have to go through something like this. But and so I never have to think about this. But people have to think about this, and people have to think about the cost that this stuff has, and the loss of life in all aspects of the life, even things that we take for granted. The apron Larissa made for Grandma Olia back when they were young. Let me help him fix this place up. His pillowcases and tablecloth were embroidered by Olia's grandmother. People said she had very skillful hands. Ola's kerchief, which grandfather just can't throw away. He can't bring himself to do it. Trivets carved by lumberjack Pavlo for Olia, later decorated by Volodya with his own patterns. Man, it's fascinating how much harder this scene hits too. Like from a personal perspective, it's weird how this scene hits me the most, because it's like I've thought about this, with my wife and stuff, and I sort of think to myself, how am I going to live without her? But it's not like, I don't know how to say this without making it feel like I'm trying to discount his pain. I'm not really discounting his pain, but it's like, it's weird how this has more of an effect, even though everything should have had that effect. Like, the loss of your home and the loss of your normalcy of life, the loss of the sanctity of your home, and the fact that you have to leave everything behind, it's just as painful as losing somebody and losing the sentimentality. All of it is all just sort of equally as painful, and because it's all to a degree that is, just pure human suffering. But it's weird how this is the one that reaches me, because this is the only one that I can relate to. It's again, it's that fortunate state that I'm able to be in. The portrait of Volodya's wife he painted shortly before her death. This is the one piece he will never ever give to anyone. I'll help you fix the table. Small hen made of clay. Fix his pants, take his laundry, fold it for him. A Pelesian landscape. One of the last works Volodya finished before the calamity came. And you can see it. I mean, look at this. It's such a beautiful framing of this piece, because it's like, we are in this region, and you can see how beautiful the green grass is, and how lively and peaceful the place looked. And you go outside and you look at it, and it's ruined. It's dreary. It's drab. The ground is uneven now. It's the whole place has been ruined. And there's no telling. I mean, this is the weird part too, is there's no telling if it looked like this before. The game puts you at this point in time, but you never really know. But you look at this and you sort of wonder, was it always so cratered like this? This is a very effective game. It's very effective at communicating what it wants to. And the scratch marks on the walls, just counting the days down as if nothing matters, because nothing really does matter anymore. Everything is gone. And specifically that thing that he said, right? That idea of the calamity took them all. Took everything else. Firewood for the winter to keep the stove burning and the house warm. The diduk is a decoration made of wheat ears. Often woven with ribbons or dried flowers, it is a symbol of prosperity, harvest, ancestry, and the spirits of the deceased. This collection of fables by the wandering philosopher Skovoroda taught life wisdom to both children and adults, through tales about the lion and the monkey, the eagle and the turtle, the bee and the wasp, and many others. One of the few of grandfather's remaining paintings. He gave the rest away. And you see a very stark difference in sort of the landscaping, right? It's like this one has a much more green, peacefulness to it, and it's sort of fascinating the framing where he's hidden this one away, as if to say he doesn't want to look at it, as if to say it pains him to remember what it used to be like, and this is the reality that it is now. And so this is probably much easier for him to stomach seeing on a daily basis, because it's at least what is there now versus the hope that was there. He doesn't even want to talk, obviously, because his life is, he's been through a lot. Yeah. But it's the last repair that I need to do. The grave is tidy and cared for, is this. It even looks like a swinging motion too. This game, again, even that simple mechanic of drawing things, you can tell a lot of thought was put into the shapes of things too, to resemble the act of what it is that you would normally be doing, as a good abstraction of the act of trying to fix a swing even. The swing that Olya used to swing on. Let's light the fire for the old man so he feels comfortable at least. Fire burns again. Like when you cook something nice. And then the neighbors came, helped me heat the stove, and we talked and felt a bit brighter. It warmed my heart. Maybe someone else will visit me if I don't die first. Good night, my dear Olya. Soon your dahlias will bloom again. Oh man. Every single chapter, we're just going through the entire village and seeing the life that was here and hearing them talk about their life and seeing them trying to get their life back, trying to recover. And really, this is the thing, right? Is trying to give hope to people again. Is, you know, because after such a traumatic event, everything feels like it doesn't matter. Like everything is numb, and everything feels pointless because it's like, what if it happens again? Trying to give people hope is so important because once you lose that, it's like, what is there to life, really? It's very crushing to think about, this whole thing. This is how clay pitchers dry after being made. Ukrainian ancestors also considered them the kind of talisman against evil forces and the evil eye, which is why there are so many of them hanging around the house. Because evil is everywhere. I do like how they look, though it must have been... I wonder how many of these would have broken, right? If the wind was too strong or if the ground shook. Even small pieces like this are so affected by something so... Oh man, it's just painful to think about all of this. But again, this is sort of the point of the medium. This is why I think the gaming medium is interesting, because in every other case, it's sort of... It's strange how we can ignore a lot of this. The horse is an essential part of a large household. With books, I often struggle to go through it and find meaning in it. With things like this, where you get to experience it, and you take part in it, it feels that much more real. See if I can fix this place up. I need to find a key. Okay, so that's a lock. I need to find a key to get inside here. I can light this up from outside. I can maybe fix this up. A cellar. Small, partially underground building where food is kept for winter, and in this yard, also clay. I think there's a broken fence here too, right? Can I fix this? A wooden carts. The guys use it to bring the clay home. They carry their wares from home to markets and fairs. There's a whole ecosystem here of people's lives. If I can go up here. I need to find a broom. I need to fix that up. This is already fixed up. I can probably clean this up. All of these small things down here. But for the large thing, I need a broom. Okay. A radio. I need to find a screwdriver. A potter's wheel the guys use to shape beautiful and practical pottery with their strong hands. Find a mop and a bucket of water. Pottery tools for carving patterns on the clay items. The horseshoe was not just a practical tool in homes with horses, but also a folk symbol of luck and happiness. Finding one on the road was a good omen. Many nailed them above doors to protect the home from evil spirits. That's interesting. I feel like if I find a horseshoe out on the road, I must, like... To me, that just means that the horse has lost it and is probably very much in the pain. Collection of old folk tales for children. Includes classic stories like the rooster and the hen, Mr. Kotsky, the fox, the cat, and the rooster, and more. Potter's aprons that they wore to keep their clothes free of clay. A mop was found. There we go. I need to find a broom. Fire poker. This oven fork was used to place or remove pots and cauldrons from the hot oven. It's fascinating how multi-purpose the ovens are. You could use it to do pottery. You can use it to cook food. I wonder if they use it all in the same space or if they would switch over to like something else, because they have a stove here to cook food specifically. But some foods just need an oven. A preserve made from homemade apples, shared with the boys by Larissa. Small rural landscape engraving. Velodio hoped it would brighten the austere everyday life of the Potters. And look at this, you can see the fields. It's fields upon fields of like farmlands. Rows and rows of crops, which, again, just don't exist. We haven't seen any in this game so far. That poor horse. I still don't know exactly why a horse needs a horseshoe. Because in my mind, wasn't the horse designed to run without the horseshoe? It's like the horse came before the shoe. So how did they survive until we invented the shoe? I still don't really get the point of it. I do get the point, however, of having to clip their hooves because they get too long. Because of the way that we keep them within pens, and so we don't really... Like, we basically put an artificial life on them. But for the horseshoe specifically, I don't really get why they're there. Because I think to myself, isn't that the point of the hoof on the horse anyways? A checkered rug that Larissa carefully crocheted for the guys. We've already left. The key, as always, is hanging on the back wall of the stable under the thatching. Oh, okay, perfect, thank you. A mace that the lumberjack friends gave to Stepan after the birth of his first son. This is a sign of the whimsy, right? It's sort of, again, it's clinical, the way that, you know, the news and the world talks about people. They sort of talk about, oh, you know, the very sort of this like rigidity to life, but people joke around the same way that we do, right? I could see myself, if I had the ability to make like a carved mace that I would give to somebody else. It's like I would just do it for fun. Life used to be fun for them, that they could make something like this. Yes, it's like us before we wear shoes. True. Maybe they've slowly evolved to not require, or like to require horseshoes. A clay rooster whistle children used to play with. Or maybe it's just more comfortable, you know? I'm sure in some level the shoe was invented because we realized walking on the floor kind of sucks. Which, admittedly, is also probably why we invented the car, because walking sucks. But... Oh yeah, I need a bucket of water, right? I have a screwdriver, I can fix the radio. I wonder what this does. Because a radio is one of those few things that you have that can give you a window into the outside world from where you are. So we stood in the bucket, but we now have the key to go downstairs. We have a broom to clean up at least these messes. Yeah, we still walk without shoes even outside, but shoes are often comfier and makes it safer. There's even shoes that the way that they do it, it's like the finger shoes. They specifically are designed to give you as much of a feeling of walking barefoot as you can without getting too while still having the layers that you would need. So back of the shed. Here we go. To protect yourself from things like hard rocks or glass nowadays. Oh, hello. Here we go. There's actually a lot in there. Wow. Let me fix this up. Again, just pieces of life that, you know, just was never maintained, because how could you? Everyone had to leave. A trove from which many horses in this family once crunched apples and oats. Horses which we haven't seen too, which mean, you know, I do hope that the horses are okay too. That's another thing actually about the life that's lost. We don't really think about it, but it's sort of a lot of the nature is impacted too, and that has a long-term effect as well. It's one of those terrifying things where, you know, how many years does it take you to grow a cow? Where do you even get like animals from? Where do you get horses from? It's not like I mean, some of them might roam the wilds, but can you all of a sudden then get them back once they're gone? Let's say they die in the calamity, which we sort of all know what it's about. Let's say they're shot or they're blown up or something or burned down. How do you then recover from that loss too, right? Not only are they animals with a life, and so you grow a connection to them, but they also have a practical purpose for whatever it is that you need to do. They might even be essential to what it is that you do. If you want to transport goods along a road, and it's more efficient than, say, using cars for your particular place. Now what do? Do you ship in a horse from out of nowhere? No, it's like all these costs I don't really think about, that I'm only now really thinking about and being made aware of. How much the loss extends to. It's not just the hearth, it's not just the people, it's also the nature around. The place that it was, and sort of the beauty and like all the life that's here is now gone. Plans for the horse that stepped and raised from a young foal. And now this is a rope. Yeah, normal shoes can be kind of bad for toes apparently too. And those finger shoes try to fix it. Yes, by giving you space to like spread them out. Yeah, because the shoes can kind of restrict them. Reminds you of lotus feet. Yes, with the binding shoes, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, kind of that, but on a much smaller scale. Yeah, it's why they try to recommend you to buy shoes that fit well. It is sort of fascinating that we've all sort of collectively decided that the shoe, a small amount of binding, was like a cost that we didn't mind to have, the protection from the elements. Like in my mind, I feel like the finger shoe should have been made first compared to like the current day shoe. But maybe it's also a fashion thing. Maybe people just really hate feet. Now why did I need the rope again? It was a very important thing that I needed the rope for. I think this needed a bucket. Oh yeah, for the well. Right, for the well to get the water, and then we can mop that up. I'm actually glad that this game is a purely walking sim. A lot of the time walking sims can get a very bad rep, but because a lot of people say that walking sims aren't games, but I think to myself, this level of interactivity is actually the most game that you'll probably ever play compared to other games. Like a lot of the times when you play a shooting game, even let's say Call of Duty, the shooting can feel so mechanical, but it's at the same time it's almost like you're not really doing anything. It feels like nothing. Whereas in a walking sim, it feels like every step that you take has a meaning to it that you have to like stop and decipher. It's strange how much more gameplay you can find within that. There we go. Clean this up for the boys and get back in here. It's a very complex shape. Very beautiful shape too. Good, now I can light the fire. Okay, so the oven is for clay firing, and then they have the stove for cooking with. I've never actually seen a wood-fired stove, at least in that form, where it looks like a normal stovetop in the way that like an electrical or like a gas one would be, but just fired by wood. And the voices, you can actually hear them. Hey, son Petro. Them doorways are way too low in here. Father Steppin! It's ya, Petro, who shut up so much since we were gone. To show the passage of time, how long they've been gone. And again, even in the face of all this, they're still able to have these conversations. They still almost joke around. The father can sort of tease him for being now taller and older. All's just like before. All our pottery stands untouched, the bed's made all sloppy. It's dark and the radio's at its place. I wonder if it's still running. You'll see in a moment, Ivan. But first, boys, listen to me. I know we lived bad here. If not for the calamity, God knows how we would have gotten by, but now things are different. Now you know the worth of our work. I didn't put my life into pottery and into you for nothing. I gave you everything. Gave you each a piece of myself. But in return, I ask only one thing. We stay here. But Pa, I know everything's prettier in the city, but it's foreign. I feel good here. Feels like your mother's near. Let me keep this memory of her alive. Yeah, Petro, we have to. And listen, we got so famous in the city with them plays that now the whole lot of them are gonna flock to us. We'll make everything for tourists here. Papa will talk to the village head and they'll build a road to the village too. We'll get another horse and go to the market every week and sell whatever don't sell here. And then, Petro, your Lenka will grow up a little and then we'll throw you a wedding. Ah, Pa. What are you saying? Oh, look how embarrassed he got. Go switch on the radio. Let's hear the latest news. I can't imagine trying to be a parent in this time as well. It's difficult to be a parent in normal times, but now to sort of help them navigate this world again. And again, to pick up pieces of your life and to get them to try to work through it all. I can't imagine the complexity of that. But the scene is beautiful because it shows that perseverance and the tenacity of people, right? That he can still joke around with his sons, and now that he's able to go back home, he can start to think about the future. And it seems like while they were in the city, they were still able to do some of it, but that father's statement is so simple and yet so full of meaning. It's so short but so full of meaning. Where he's like, "I want to stay here because it feels like I'm finally near your mother." And this whole time he's been away from her, right? Imagine the pain that he must have been being so far away from someone who he like truly loves, right? The wooden toy boat that the loggers gave to the girls. Why am I allowed to go inside the water? Oops. You don't think the foreign feet like with the lowest feet, but people say it can make feet hurt or you more fatigued from walking or something. Yeah, it's something about the support. It doesn't really feel good the way that we usually walk, that we normally would by going barefoot. A small sapilka Anna loved to play. Oh, I wonder if it's like a type of flute. It looks like a type of wind instrument. Bees. Bee eyes my Dimitro used to care for. The honey from them was the tastiest in the world. My Dimitro. I wonder what they mean by my Dimitro. When you say my somebody or my somebody, it's either implying that they are a lover or just our family. Just something about them in relation to us implies that we're more than just, not even close friends, but like we're more than that. You find pliers to fix this. Put the door back on. A trough for feeding chickens. I do like how they have a small chicken door. You find a hammer and a bunch of sticks. Okay, we'll fix all this up. Hey, chicken. I guess I should grab you. Oh, wait. Maybe I don't know how to grab you. Maybe I need to, like... Where'd you go? Maybe I need to corral you inside the pen. Is this really how you're supposed to deal with chickens? Is there not an easier way to deal with chickens? I thought, like, the point of a chicken was that they were fairly slow and you just pick them up. Or maybe picking them up would be even more dangerous because they could peck your eyes out, but... This is where my girls love to have tea and play. Oh, how I miss them. A jar of glue. Here we go. Now he's saying my girls. Or our character, whoever they are, is saying my girls. Maybe this used to be our home. What fine grapes we have, and how ripe they are. This is my home. So tasty, I can't tear myself from them. Oh, I'm so full now. Maybe I shouldn't have eaten all of them. Maybe I should have saved some for later. I get these weeds out of here. Oh, and the pumpkins. Again, all this food. You know, just having to leave it here and hoping that it's still here when you come back. But you never really know. Over here. And we even have electricity, which is very different, I think, from most of the homes we've seen so far. Most of the homes that we saw had nothing at all. Bunch of sticks. Here we go. Fix this up. And now... Oh, no. I still need pliers to fix that. So until I get pliers, I can't get them out there yet. Because they'll just run away. And now I'm assuming we go into our character's home. Embroider picture. A gift from Oksana for my eldest daughter's birthday. I'm assuming that we're the mother. For my eldest daughter. A table for evening gatherings with family or with neighbors if they happen to stop by. This cup is a gift from Stepan for the good and diligent work of the head woman of the village. Is that me implying that I'm the head woman? Or is that me implying that I'm related to the head woman? The carpet that Volodya and Olya gave us for our wedding. Volodya brought it especially from Prikapatia for this occasion. They find a besom. Letters on the floor. These books. Kotylarevsky wrote Aeneid using the plot of the Roman poet Virgil's original work, but reimagined it in a Ukrainian style. The poem blends nostalgia for the Cossack era with folk customs, cuisine, and, most importantly, language. What is the Cossack era? This is a very beautiful game, too, because it really does a good job of teaching you a lot about a culture, right? That sort of... It feels like a learning game, too, where you're going through the effort of trying to learn about a whole different life that isn't yours. A star-shaped ornament on a string. I think technically my summon can be used to anyone close to you, be it family or friends. I think it's most often used for either your children or your partner. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like... I guess, like, it's strange, because, like, maybe it's like a language thing, because there are some things in this game that I find interesting. The translation sort of airs on almost like a sort of like old country American style translation, or like say like an Irish style sort of like speaking is sort of the way that you see it as like the stereotypical Irish way that like people speak within movies and stuff, right? So I wonder if it's like a translation thing, because you know how I said before in the Discord, there's sort of like this pain that I struggle with, where in my language there's a word for a level of friendship that's like above coworkers but below friends, and so it's like maybe my someone can sort of mean somebody who you're really close to. But at least in English, it's sort of strange to apply to, because it's like, it's something that you would always, pretty much almost always use exclusively for your partner. But maybe that's just more to say that maybe the culture that I live in doesn't really have a good, or at least the culture that I'm surrounded by doesn't really have a good metric for like people feeling close to other people with no romantic in attentions, and like only with this feeling of friendship. The story tells of the love between Marussia and Vassal, which was hindered first by military conscription and later by death. And the novella belongs to sentimentalism and vividly depicts the life, labor, and traditions of Ukrainian peasants. Huh. I've already got that. An address book with all the important phone numbers, people that I need to call once we're all done with this. And a letter that I can't read. The only telephone in the village. The only telephone in the village. The only way for the village to contact probably the main city. Once again, this is the head woman's house. You find a besom. A besom. Here we go. Actually, that last conversation within the Discord of the parasociality thing, and sort of the ideas of being human, and sort of the empathy that we have for our fellow humans, I was thinking about that a lot. I'm glad that I was able to get that out there, to be like, hey, you know, even though we might not be friends, it doesn't mean that I don't care for everyone here. And it doesn't mean that people don't care for you too. You know, in spite of all the things going on in the world, I think it's important to remember that as a community, you don't have to necessarily be directly related to somebody to want to care about them and help them, you know? Always keep an eye out and help the people around you. And it's sort of what this game is too, right? It's sure, we're helping people that we know, but they're not our direct family. It's because we're all a part of a larger community that, you know, is now coming back and trying to build our life again. It was mine to Mitra, who had the sweetest honey. Barrels where I used to pickle cabbage, cucumbers, and tomatoes for the winter. Dimitro especially loved the tomatoes. I really hope Dimitro's okay. It's fascinating how a name can make me feel like that too. Apricot jam made with Larissa's old recipe I loved so much. I know somebody who's named Dimitro, who is Ukrainian, and he was we were working when news of the war broke out. And yeah, it was a very tough time for him. We spoke a lot about, you know, the war and what was going on in his life, and I tried my best to offer support, but it really felt like there was nothing I could do to even comfort him or even aid him. You know, it was sort of crushing in that way, where it's like you see somebody going through so much pain, and yet all you can do is offer them. In many ways, it feels like empty platitudes and words. You know, we still talk very often, but it's one of those things I think about a lot, where so far away, it can feel powerless, but there's a lot more that I could have been doing still. And I still think about that every day, where it's like, I could have been doing a lot to try to help support the cause and help, support what's been going on in his life and help support getting to a resolution that, brings peace back, right? But, how much of my time am I wasting playing games? Like, I think about this a lot, where it's like seeing that name sort of brings back these feelings where it's like, man, like all these things happening in the world, and here I am just playing video games. It makes me question why. It's why I'm taking a step back and streaming less and less. It's why I'm taking a step back and doing less and less and focusing only on the important things. Not to say that it's not important to enjoy yourself in life, but that I sort of question my life as it is, because it's like, can I really enjoy life knowing that life is like this for a fair number of people within the world? And sure, I can be sort of selfish in that way and say it doesn't affect me, so why does it matter? And like, because it doesn't affect me, it's like, why do I let it affect me? Because there's so many bad things happening in life. If you let everything affect you, then it goes poorly, right? Because then you would never be able to cope with it. But maybe that's the point, is to build up that muscle of being able to deal with it, so that I can put my efforts more towards helping people. It's also sort of why I got into tech too, was to try to help build things that could help change the world. But I didn't really extend it to other things in my life. It's fascinating. Fix this up, fix that up, fix this up. How about this book? This is a separate edition by Ukraine's most famous writer, Taras Shevchenko, which includes 22 works. Poems and excerpts for longer poems that would be interesting and accessible for children. A picture decorated with traditional children's patterns. It's very hard to make a good poem for a child. It's very hard to make any medium, to make anything of any medium for a child. It has to be simple enough that they understand it, but complex enough to still capture the thing that you're trying to talk about. The Botanka doll is a charm for my girls. We made it together, just like I and my mother used to. The wording in this game, just like what I used to have, just like who somebody used to make, just like things I used to love, all these things that I used to, things that are now a long distant memory, maybe even like a dream, because I haven't been able to do any of it recently because of all that's been happening. Let's try and get all the chickens back inside, because I can't recall what else I needed to fix. Although maybe there's something outside here too. That's a flute. And then I think about it, maybe Anna is the name of my child, and she used to love to play that. All the past tense stuff. Not to say that she wouldn't love playing it now, but again, the past tense stuff, it fills me with dread, because you don't really know what happened to make it past tense. It's sort of like, okay, well, is it past tense because they're no longer here, or what does it mean, right? I know they weren't here because of what happened, but are they still here on this earth? There you are. Okay, just get inside, please. I'm just begging you, please. Just let me hold you. Okay, it's in? I think it's in. I think I do need to get all the chickens in as well. Man, this game is really, really good. So not only is it relevant to the time, so it's amazing from a storytelling standpoint in terms of like getting you to experience what it's like to sort of come back to a place afterwards. The mechanics, I mean, just purely from a gameplay perspective, it's sort of like a very, very well-made walking simulator where the mechanics speak for themselves. You don't even need to think about it. You just see a chicken, you see a chicken pen, and you go, I need to put them inside the pen. You see things that need to be fixed, and then you have to go, I have to fix this up. These chicken sounds are cracking you up. It does sound like a fake chicken, yeah. It reminds me of like the idea of a lot of early Foley sounds, I guess, were made by people, because it's like, how do you record a chicken? It's kind of hard. Even in my life now, with the resources that I have, I don't know how I could even record a chicken. And I think I would just resort to making the noise myself. What else am I missing? It has to be something inside now, because outside's done. Chickens are inside the pen now too, so it should be okay. Was it this? No. This? No. This? No. This? No, that's the book. I haven't finished the repairs in the yard yet, so there's still something in the yard that I have to fix. But what? And this is maybe unintentional, but it sort of feels like this feels like the type of thing that you'd have to suffer and go through. It's like trying to remember exactly where everything was, what everything is. Even living in a home day to day, you don't really remember where everything is. You just sort of know it was somewhere here, and you sort of place things all sort of haphazardly, right? But having to come back and trying to remember how everything was supposed to be. The game does a good job of, and maybe, again, unintentionally making you feel that way, because I don't know what I could possibly fix left. Sorry, I don't know what is left to possibly fix in my home. Nothing outside, I don't think. You can hire a chicken VA. I wonder if there are VAs that do those various voices. Chickens, dogs, right? Sheep, cows. I've seen some people do some pretty good animal impressions. Power line is good. The fence is good. Is it the garden? I think it's the garden. You look around. Just look at everything. This is where my girls love to play, to have tea and play. Love to have tea and play. Oh, how I've missed them. You know, the way that the calamity, right? The way that these things tear apart families. You sort of long for them every day, but you know that you can't meet because it's just too dangerous to. Okay, yeah, okay, you're all good, okay. None of you would know what I need to fix, right? What would I possibly need to fix? The windows look good, the house looks good, the power line looks good. What am I missing? The fence looks good. The garden, I mean, it looks as good as it possibly could have been. Given everything that's happened. So what am I missing? Not the trees. It's not the fence. This is the one pain point of games like this, where it's like, the story that it's trying to tell is very, very much paced to you getting everything, and you following the flow, and you going into the flow of doing it. Such that you can just worry about the story. It's sort of a complicated thing in making games, where you have to balance the gameplay and the story such that you get both, and they're both effective at what they do, because they both have equal ability to hamper the other. And honestly, the fact that I've only just run into this problem now in a game that's entirely about fixing things and trying to find problems to fix, and maybe it's that hut up there, is actually, if anything, oh, that's not a hut, that's just a rock, is indicative of how well made this game is, because other games would have probably fallen into this problem far sooner. But I'm starting to feel it. It's a strange feeling to have in relation to the feelings that this game has given me, and the ways that it's made me think about things. Again, which is sort of the reason why I wanted to play it, because how often it's sometimes you it's not always things that you want to feel. Sometimes it's things that you have to feel too, right? That are more important. But having to feel that in relation to the growing frustration that I have of not knowing what is left to fix is making me feel incredibly confused. Because I feel like if I get angry, then I feel like I've ruined the whole point of the game. But I don't know. What do I need to fix? What do I need to fix? And maybe, actually, this is something that I've thought about. This looks like a pretty good home to me, and I think it's fixed enough. Clearly, this is enough for me to live in. But clearly, this is the game wants me to do more. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? There's still repairs inside the yard. Doesn't tell you what the repairs are. I'm stuck. Oh, that's not a "I'm stuck, help me, guide me" button. That's a "I'm stuck in a wall somewhere. Please free me from my from my suffering of being stuck inside of a wall." And that's what that stuck button does. Is the green not a problem? Is the fact that it's green not a problem? Hello. What am I fixing? Oh my god, it's that. I guess I should have looked at that and then been like, how is the chicken supposed to eat from it? But never occurred to me that chickens need to have a very specific placement. There's so many cool onomatopoeia words for chicken. Cluck, buck, caw, bagok, buck, 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 buck. Bagok is your favorite. Bagok! They were making that noise too, as an onomatopoeia. Fascinating to see a communal village life like this too, right? Because it affects the whole village. But that table that they would all come together and spend time on, you don't really get that in a city life. And so when something like this happens, right, and you're driven away from your home, if it's not a life that you're used to, even if it's a life that's full of people that are just like you, it's still not something that you're used to. It's still very discomforting and jarring. That you're pushed away from the life that you're used to, this like very communal rural life, into like a city life, just to be able to survive, you know, to hunker down, to bunker down, and try to make it through the war. It still takes something away from you. These scenes are very, very sad too. We look at the fire, we look at the things around the home, we look at the door longingly, as if we're waiting for somebody to open the door. But it doesn't seem to open. As if it's like no one's coming. Oh, my family. Father Demetra. Presumably, my partner. Oh, girls, I can't go in there. I can't realize your mother's gone. I should have gone to Grandpa Volodya. I should have... And daughter Anna. Pa, has the calamity really passed? I hope so, Anna. It's like a dream. Like she can open the door any second. It's warm and bright inside and smells like her famous pies. And my daughter Katerina, my two daughters. Yeah, and her favorite book's lying pages downwards on the windowsill. Just like she would do, so she wouldn't forget where she stopped. Not my mom. Don't you cry, Anna dear. Everything's gonna be fine. You hear voices? Feels like they're coming from our cupola glade. Looks like many of our neighbors returned already. Let's go greet them and come home later. That was a beautiful and haunting scene. That was a really beautiful and haunting scene. Both sides of the family, right? You're torn apart. You have no clue if the other person has even survived. I remember my dad talked about this. He talked about the fact that, like, oh, when they came over and stuff, right? And my brother talked about this too. How my uncles came over first, and you know, when you come over, it's a bit of a struggle. You have to go on a boat and try to survive going across the ocean. And they just wouldn't know. They wouldn't know if the other person made it. And, you know, this is it's not like it happened so long ago that there wasn't some level of instant communication, but still, it took time to get some confirmation of where they were, because even once you arrive there, there's no system by which you can prove who you are. I mean, a lot of people would even show up with no documents, because it's like you have to leave everything behind when you go. You can't bring everything onto the boat. And so it's like, how do you even know that they even made it? And oftentimes you have to make a choice of who goes first, who goes next, who goes last. It's, you can't all go in one fell swoop, because there's so many people who are trying to escape to survive. Yeah, I can sort of see that pain of on both sides, and that was a beautiful scene because our character from the inside, she's staring at the door, wondering where her family is. She's lit the home, and she's wondering where everyone is. The family outside, they can't bring themselves to possibly come to the truth that maybe we never made it. But now we go to the bonfire with the rest of the community, and we say hello to everyone, and we make it known that we are here and that we are alive. Which, by the way, this is a massive bonfire. Jesus Christ. This is huge. Well, guys, do you believe you're really home? I waited for this for so long. I step inside and feel like I ain't been here 100 years. God damn that calamity. I think it's finally over. How's it going in the forest? It ain't bad. The cabin's still standing, surprisingly clean, even though we shook up everything when we fled. That's strange. Our house is nice and clean too. What a mystery. Maybe Vassal came back and cleaned up quietly? No way, he must have settled in the city by now. He wanted that so much. Yeah, that's why we need a new helper to chop and tend the forest. Step in. Maybe your eldest will join us. We'll teach him everything. He will if he wants to. He's good with hands. Oh, I'm starting to realize what the game is trying to do and say. The game is actually showing that we're not alive. We're dead. And everything we've been doing is sort of like a representation of our hope and the way that we try to sort of supernaturally exert our force in the world to try to make it a better place again. To give these people a space to come home, but I think we're dead. What? Yeah, I think that's what it's going for, is that we're no longer here, but it's sort of like, this is our responsibility to do all this. Because no one acknowledges who we are. We seem to be, and I didn't really notice this before, but we seem to be there as like a silent observer of everyone's conversations. And I think that's why it's like this. It's because we're no longer here. I often thought of your berry pies when we were away, Alexander. Nobody do them as good as you. Thanks, Ivan. I'll make you more tomorrow. What do you want them with? Now we only have apples and the raspberries in the forest. The raspberries? Oh, my favorites. We'll go and pick them tomorrow, right? Sure, Petro. But first we have to wait for spring to replant the gardens. Then we'll live well again. A new beginning. Now I can talk to Larissa. Clutchy pickles. Garlic rolls must have been baked by Larissa, so fragrant. Borscht with forest mushrooms, already served to everyone. Let it cool a little, it'll taste even better. Oh, you can even see the smoke on it. Oh, it looks so good. Oh, these sweet crumby buns. A chicken baked in the oven. No, not the chicken. Bread, a must-have on any table. Vinaigrette salad. I loved making it in autumn too. I bought a moonshine. I wonder whose white lighting this is. Varenki. I hope these are Oksana's signature ones with our blueberries. I guess this is also why our character always said that they loved all of this too. So this is... Oh, this is the grandfather. Hello, Grandpa. Volodya, how's life treating you, youngin'? Slowly but surely. And yeah, ain't you brought the grandkids from city? Oh, stop it. With Alexander, I gotta wait forever. Fair enough. She's modest, hard-working. Girls like that need time and the right person. Just like my Olia was for me. Did I maybe bring some flower seedlings to her grave? I took care of that, but I'll ask her to come help me in my garden. This year, I ain't touched it at all, except to tend around the grave. Alright, Volodya. Oksana and I will come and help you. After all, we're all here together now. All at home. Well, almost all. When everyone is together, life feels easier, calmer. And when you're alone, with no loved ones, with no walls of home, it feels like something's missing, like a piece of you was torn away. But what was left to do when the calamity came? All saved themselves as best as they could, running where their eyes led them. It's good that we now have a place to return to. Yeah, almost all of us made it, but we died. You did everything you could. In every house, the hearth burns again. The smell of fresh bread, jam, and coziness fills the air. Once again, our village hums with laughter and chatter. You saved us. You saved this clamor, and forests and houses and gardens. You carried the fire from house to house, so let this fire now help you leave this world and set off to a better one. It's time, dear Lydia. Rest now. Wait for us, but not too soon. I was wondering, right? Because, at least in my mind, it's sort of fascinating that everyone does survive. I hear about the stories from my family and from friends who are going through it, of the people that they lose through all of this. And I don't think it's more of a rarity to see that people can make it through alive than anything. That's why it's so painful. The senseless loss of human life. The MC is dead. How come we can eat apples and grapes? So, I think the game isn't... Well, it's strange. Days passed. The game definitely feels almost like a hopeful thing, right? Over time, normal life returned to the village. Something had changed. People had become closer. More like family. The potters lit their ovens again, and their work spread through fairs across the whole region. So they worked diligently, all together, and the father's heart rejoiced, seeing such sons. And who else worked well were the lumberjacks, but at the same time they were preparing for a great celebration. The wedding of Pavlo and Oksana. Oh, they actually tied the knot. They had already held the betrothal, and now preparations for the great wedding feast were underway. Mother Larissa had finally lived to see it. Even Grandpa Volodya stepped out of the dark silence and returned to his art. The family of the village head woman, Lyuda, still felt the pain of loss, but step by step, they were learning to live again. The elder daughter, Katerina, found comfort in music and nature. They were her solace. Anna still missed her mother. She remained the same smiling and kind girl with her mother's eyes. When the storks returned again, everyone understood. The village was coming to life. It lived. It would live as long as it had care, warmth, and love. The ghosts have to eat too. I mean, the whole thing, the whole game, the whole story, right? It feels like hope given form in the form of this game. It's why I think it takes that chart into the supernatural, because it's sort of like it's a wish, right? It's a wish placed upon the world through this game, where they're saying, we wish that this is going to happen. We wish that we could come back and find our homes all in their places, all fixed up, all cleaned up, ready to take us home again. We wish that we could see sort of, our life be put back together, and that we can have our normal life again, and that ultimately maybe we can even find a way forward, and maybe our life can be better after all of this, right? In the way that sort of tragedy can bring people closer together. I see this game as sort of that interesting piece of fantasy, right? That sort of fantasy that is hope. Not to say that hope is that is always a fantastical thing. I think hope can also be made real, but specifically for the time and the place and sort of what's currently happening, I see this game as fantasy and as hope given form in the form of a video game. So when you look at sort of the character and what we can do, sort of look at it from that sort of fantasy lens of this is what they want to happen. They just want
They want to have their life just be better, just things to be normal again, for them to just be able to live, and for the spirits to find some peace, and for them to still, even for the spirits to be able to fulfill their life, so that they're no longer suffering in and wandering in the world, right? Especially if you believe in that stuff, it's a very comforting thing to have the hope that maybe they're there taking care of the space that you all used to live in, and that they can finally make it just a little bit better to draw everyone back. So that's how I look at this. It's a very sad game. Again, it's a very sad game. It's very heavy, and for what it is, I think it does a very fantastic job. Even if maybe in 100 years, let's say, we play this game and we look back at a time that feels just like, let's say, the World War is just so far away that it doesn't even feel real, and we can sort of look at it as a historical artifact. I think this game, even then, would be an amazing game. It's actually a really, really good game in terms of the way that it communicates so much with so little. And the mechanics were really good too. Again, as a video game, it was a very good game. The ways that it put you directly in control of the act of fixing things, of like making things better. The way that it gave you these descriptions and taught you about this life that, for many of us, right, it's not a life of our own. I'm not Ukrainian. I don't know any of this. I don't have to suffer through any of this. But the fact that the game is able to do such a good job of teaching us all of this is amazing. And it really goes to show, right, that sometimes it's the stories that you don't necessarily want to hear. It's very painful to hear, but you have to hear, that can bring you the most in your life, that can really make you think about things that you never really thought about before, and can help you grow as a person, which is a weird thing to say in contrast to the tragedy that it is. But I think we need more of this stuff out there to sort of let people know. But yeah, it was a very fantastic game. It feels like the Marivo Collective and Padover Interactive, they're very good at telling these stories, right? Like No One Lives Under the Lighthouse, Blessed Burden. They're very good at sort of telling these stories with very little details, and yet with so much meaning with it inside of it, where they don't need much to tell a lot. They're very good at sort of having you explore these spaces, to take part in these worlds. And I hope that they get to continue, and I hope that things like this, will get better. I hope that things will get better in life. But yeah, that's why today is a very sad day for these games, because how often do we get to think about this stuff? How often do we get to really interface with this stuff? And because we're so far removed from it that it doesn't even feel real. But I think it's important to remember that horror within life is this. This is the horror of life, is that whatever the calamity was, and we sort of, again, we know what it is, but we know what they're referring to. It's real, it's out there, and we can't just ignore it. It's something that we have to think about.